Hey guys, did you hear? Whose Line Is It Anyways back? Yay! Yes, after 2 attempts to bring the show's format back in Drew Carey's green screen and Drew Carey's improvaganza, the CW is now bringing back the improv show with all of the original performers, except Drew Carey. But, I mean, they did get a new host. In honor of the show's return, I've decided to count down the top... Where did I put those dice? The top 7 Whose Line Is It Anyway games. Yes, everybody has at least one favorite game. So I've settled on... What was it? Oh, right, 7. 7 of the games that I liked the most. But first, a little bit of background. Whose Line Is It Anyway started out as a British radio show that successfully brought the fun and spontaneity of an improv show to the airwaves. It eventually moved to TV and was hosted by Clive Anderson. It featured some of the best improvisational performers of the day, and even attracted some big names like Stephen Fry, Eddie Izzard, and Stephen Frost. It lasted 10 seasons in the UK and was eventually moved across the pond to America in 1998. The American version featured the same format and performers, but added a new host, Drew Carey. It lasted another 9 years and was cancelled in 2007. So, let's start out with number 7. Number 7. Props. This particular game really shows off the performer's ability to think on the fly. They're given an oversized prop, usually brought in by an audience member, and have to use it in a scene. Most of the time they have no idea what the prop even is, and have to make up some sort of use for it. Some of them are really funny and creative, and some are just kind of...
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Yeah. But it is easily one of my favorite games, and I don't really have that much else to say about it. So on to the next one. Number 6. Hoedown. Yeah, I'll be honest, I never really cared for this game much on its own. I mean, it's really kind of fill in the blank. It just never really made me laugh out loud all that much. I mean, it's kind of the same thing over and over. All the actors have to do is fill in the blank. It's fairly simple. And the only reason I put it on the list is because when somebody says something unexpected or flubs a line, it is one of the funniest things ever. For example, they were going to do a game where Ryan and Colin would play Bill Cosby and Hitler per audience suggestion. Naturally, the director and the censors didn't exactly go for it, so later in the hoedown, this happened.
Our director, he really is the boss. For yelling and screaming, he's never at a loss. He's the meanest guy that you will ever see. He should sprout a mustache and move to Germany.
He's Hitler. Or when they use it as an opportunity to take pot shots at each other.
I am losing my hair and it really is a pain. I find out every morning when I see the shower drain. But as you can see, it isn't quite for me. But at least I'm not quite as bold as Colin Mockery.
So, yeah, funny game, but only when something unexpected happens. Number 5. Hats. Now this game definitely evolved over the course of the show. It started out that when the performer gets a hat, they only have to say just a general line for the character they make up.
Hello. Welcome to Pony Club.
Later, they changed it into a dating service video. Each line is now a pickup line, full of rather subtle double entendres.
We have come for your women!
The last time I fourscored was 20 years ago.
Subtlety. And it feels like each actor is trying to top each other in utter ridiculousness.
I know what you're thinking. There's only one way to find out.
And speaking of rather risque business, number 4. If you know what I mean. Alright, I feel really immature for putting this game on the list, but it's just so dang funny. The way the game works is that 2 performers are given a perfectly innocuous scene, but they have to end every sentence with the words, "if you know what I mean." It's amazing how 6 little words can add a whole nother level of meaning to a conversation.
My dough's starting to rise, if you know what I mean. You look like you want me to help butter your muffins, if you know what I mean.
Though they didn't do this particular game as often as others on the list, for a good reason probably, it still left quite an impression.
I was slapping around a couple hot cross buns, if you know what I mean.
You look like you've got one in the oven, if you know what I mean.
I like to knead the dough, if you know what I mean.
It's really, really funny, and really, really crude. Number 3. Party quirks. Alright, I'll admit, I had a little bit of difficulty picking a game for this spot. It came between this, newscasters, and let's make a date. Which, if you really think about it, is just variations on the same game. From there on, it's really just changing the scene and the motivation for each character. I picked this one over the other 2 games, simply because the way the game is played allows each of the actors to move around freely. Let's let the actors also interact and play off each other.
Here, try some of the cheese puffs right over there. No, you really got a rock guy.
Which is much funnier than them just sitting down in a row. So I have to give it to Party Quirks, the funnier of the 3. Number 2. Helping Hands. This game is always funny. It's also a game you can anticipate. When you see that tray of food on the set after a commercial break, you know exactly what game is coming next. 2 performers, let's face it, pretty much Colin and Ryan, stand one behind the other as one actor pretends to be the hands of the other.
This is, that's a cheesy. Oh, so nice. No time for that. We gotta make it the sandwich.
I'm tempted just to shut up and only show clips, but I could never do that to you. I really can't go too deep explaining how or why this is funny. You can just see for yourself.
Hello? I ordered, they want a pizza sandwich with,
So, on to number 1. Number 1, whose line is it anyway game, is... Alright, you saw this coming. Scenes from a Hat! Yeah, I know. The game's just a lot of fun. The actors have fun doing it, and we all have fun watching it. Drew Carey said several times that it's his favorite game. The game gets to show off not only the creativity of the actors, but also the creativity of the audience. Honestly, if the entire show was just scenes from a hat, I think it would never get old. Probably. It's my favorite game. And probably yours.
I'm here to tell my husband I'm in love with a cat.
Meow.
So that was the top, what was it, 7 Whose Line Is It Anyway games? And I'll go on record to say, I definitely hope that this revival lasts longer than the original.